Hey everybody, how you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. My name is Eyes of Paradise and welcome to Heroes of New Earth update 4.8.3.1, where it's mostly gonna be about stuff of the Master Effect on some heroes. One which everyone is most excited about is Gemini's Staff of the Master Effect, which now allows him to make a new unit or like just B3 units with his ulti. And another hero is Geomancer, Mage, Martyr, Aphelion, Soul Reaper, and some general fixes, of course, and other bug fixes and stuff. Either ways, let's not delay it and let's just jump into it. So first thing first, we go into Gemini. Now, with Gemini stuff with the Master Effect, right now, rather than summoning 2 wolves or whatever, dogs, whatever they are, he summons 3. The third one is Light. Now, Light is actually quite unique. What Light does pretty much is he has 650 movement speed all the time. Well, not specifically all the time, but every time he's walking or not doing anything like an attack or using a spell, he will be on 650 movement speed. Now, this is quite interesting. The way it works, pretty much, that he's in 650 movement speed until he hits, or he uses a spell, or he runs into another hero's like radius. If he runs into another hero in 1200 in radius. If he gets into 1200 radius of another hero, his movement speed will stop and he will be just like the other 2 wolves that you have. Which is for me, I don't know why, to be completely honest with you. The way I see this ability is that once he get a staff, you will have this third element or third wolf, whatever it is, that's gonna be super fast and can catch up to anybody. And as soon as you get to this hero, you will W him, stun him, Q, and then call in ice and fire, and then you would destroy this hero, right? Because you're chasing him down, but that's not the case. As soon as you get into another hero within 1200 radius, he stops. Your movement speed goes back to normal, to like the one that ice and fire has. So yeah, it's quite weird for me, to be honest with you, but other than that, you can use him to like roam the map and like be in a lot of places. It's really good. And of course, 2 more abilities were, or sorry, 1 ability were added to fire and ice, which is teleporting to light. Same thing with light. Light can teleport to fire or ice. So if you click D on fire or ice, they will teleport to light. Same thing goes with light, but except now it's E and D. I believe E is to fire and D is to ice, or the other way around. But yeah, either ways. So light can teleport to them, and fire and ice can teleport to them, and of course to each other. They all can teleport to each other now. His Q and W, which is lights, Q and W, they're the same pretty much as ice and fire. The W is a stun, but the Q is a little bit different. It's the same thing, except this one is evasion. Ice is movement slow, and fire is damage per second, but light is evasion. It gives evasion, 80% evasion for 3 seconds. So if you Q someone with light, he will just start missing pretty much. I do like the concept, but I just wish that rather than the 1200 radius thing around heroes, when he uses his ulti, light will be on max movement speed, or sorry, not even max, 650 movement speed for like 12 seconds. So if somebody is running away, you as a Gemini with the Staff of the Master could ulti and then catch up to him, W him, stun him, call in ice and fire, and then get that hero that was running away, maybe a carry, whoever it is. I feel like that way Staff of the Master would actually be viable on Gemini, but that's just my 2 piece. But either ways, that's the Gemini staff, and it's really the most interesting thing about this update. Yeah, so it's gonna be like the longest section. But yeah, moving on to Geomancer, Staff of the Master. Pretty much what it does now, that it applies a 35% movement slow to enemies within 600 radius before the initial explosion. Pretty much, it's like a guarantee that people will be hit by your ulti. I actually don't really like this that much because there's Sand Scepter now, there's Frostwolf, there's Frostfield, there's a lot of things that can immobilize you and stun you. Not mentioning his Q as well, so this is kind of questionable on my behalf, but not a lot of players buy staff on Geomancer. Actually, nobody buys staff on Geomancer, so maybe this will let players buy it now? I don't know. Either way, by my opinion, this is really not necessary, but yeah, it is there now. So now jumping into Magebane. Now, when it comes to Magebane, they added a Staff of the Master effect to his flash, aka blink, which everyone calls it. Now, pretty much what happens is that when Magebane blinks now, he will apply his Q in a 600 radius. So once Magebane blink now, his Q will be applied to all 600 radius, or the heroes in 600 radius, and once it's applied to them, if they use any mana, it will be dealt to them in 110% as damage. So let's say Magebane jumps in to a Pyromancer, and this Pyromancer was in the 600 radius. Okay, so Pyromancer has a sheepstick, he has a staff, he has his ulti, he has all of his spells. Okay, so once Magebane jumps in, this Pyro is gonna sheep him. He's gonna ulti him, he's gonna Q him, he's gonna W him, he's gonna use everything on him. And he's gonna ulti him, of course. So if that happens, this Pyro used 1,000 mana, let's say. I don't know how much it is exactly, but let's say he used 1,000 mana. He will get 1,100 damage in return. I like it, but in the same time, it's a bit risky. Because in a Magebane, you don't really want to be caught, and you want to use your blink in like the smartest way possible. You don't want to use it to like put yourself in a bad spot. You don't want to use it to put your team in a bad spot, and you gotta sometimes just keep it to just escape, really. So I'm not sure. I feel like this is gonna make a lot of Magebane players a little bit too cocky, and they'll start jumping in the wrong places and getting themselves killed, and God knows. But if you get a skilled Magebane player, this could end up being a really good effect in the fight. And moving into his ulti, which is Mana Rift. Now, this has been technically a new staff. It's been replaced entirely. Now, pretty much before it was double the radius. Now it remains the same radius. But now what happens is that if he ultis someone, another hero in that ulti, okay, let's say he ultied and there's 5 heroes, okay? So one of these 5 heroes is outside of his ulti radius, okay? He will still get the ulti, but only one target out of that radius will get his ulti in 800 radius. So if Magebane jumps in and he ultis the one in the middle, and there's, let's say, 3 heroes in the middle and the hero he ultied, and 1 hero outside, that 1 hero outside will get 60% of the damage dealt to the main target. But the rest of the targets that are inside the radius are still the same Magebane, the same ulti without staff, the normal one. But the one outside will get his ulti. Plus, the ones outside that are not as close as the one to 800 radius will get the stun, but they will not get the 60% damage. They will only get the stun. It's just a change, to be honest with you. The double radius thing was nice, but I see why he changed it. The double radius thing was just here you go, now your ulti is a little bit bigger, but this one is like, oh, now you can hit another target even if he's a little bit far away from the target you hit, rather than being really stuck or near each other. I like it. It's a cool thing to add. It's pretty good. Now moving on to Martyr. Martyr Soul's Conviction, Staff of the Master, new effect. Now pretty much was what this does is that it allows Martyr to cast its ability on allies, heroes within 600 cast range. Now, everybody knows what Martyr E does. It pretty much changes your health to your mana or your mana to your health, depending on which one is lower. Pretty much the same for allies. If you have a hero with low mana but full HP, you use your E on him, it will change his health to his mana. Same thing with mana to health. I like it, but in the same time, I disagree because Martyr is a very, very powerful hero. He has his ulti, he has his wings, he has his Q, he might have a storm, he might have a tablet, he might have a PK, he might have a staff, and now you give him this as well? Not mentioning he still keeps his ulti staff, by the way, just FYI, he still keeps his ulti staff. So not only he can heal him and another hero to full, he can change mana to health with another hero. So now if Mage is playing against you, you can do some nutty stuff with this. So I don't know, man. I don't like it. To be honest, I disagree with it. It's a nice idea, but it shouldn't be applied. I disagree with it. I don't like it. I don't know. That's just my 2 piece, but yeah. Now, moving on to Aphelion. Now, when it comes to Aphelion, now Staff of the Master, what it does to her is that it grants 0.25 the movement speed bonus to her ancient creeps. That's it. It just makes her ancient creep a little bit faster. I really don't know why he did this. Like, Energizer is a thing. I don't know why would you like have a staff for it. It just, I don't know. Whatever. I guess it's cool. I don't know. Either ways, moving on to the next thing, which is Soul Reaper. Now, when it comes to Soul Reaper, pretty much his ulti is a little bit changed. Now, when it comes to his ulti right now, the old effect remains, which is going from 90% to 120%. That remains, but it has an additional thing now. Now, what it does is that the main target you ulti, now his ulti hits up to 5 people. So now his ulti is an AoE ulti, and it's a 500 radius AoE ulti that hits up to 5 people, 60% of the main target power. So if I hit the ulti on one main target, it will go to 5 people, 60% at a time. So the one nearest will get 60% of the one in the main. And then the one that got hit the second time, it will go to the third one, but 60% of the second one, and the fourth to the third, and the fifth to the fourth. And that's how it works. I mean, this is a very interesting idea of Soul Reaper staff. I don't know what I think of this. This either could be super silly, or it could be super useless. It's either one of the two, but I don't know, this just doesn't feel right, to be completely honest with you. Because think about it, if you're standing in a situation where the enemy team really outplayed you and they lived with like really low HPs, okay? Now let's say, surprisingly, they were all near each other. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now Soul Reaper jumps in. Okay, give him the old staff. He would jump in and kill only one person. Alright, that's nice. He got one at least. Guaranteed kill. Now he got this new staff. He would jump in and kill everyone. So, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to even say about it. It's cool, but why? Why? Either ways, I don't know what to say about this. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't seen anyone play it yet, but yeah, we'll see what happens with it. Yeah, either ways, these are the Staff of the Master changes. Now jumping into general changes. Now, when it comes to general changes, the things that really like catch you or catch your eye, catch your attention is the neutral creeps. What happened is that the 2 bottom leftmost Legion, which pretty much is the pool camps of Legion and Hellbon, are now a little bit harder to stack, pretty much nothing else. But I don't know about this. I tested this in practice mod. I tried to stack. It didn't seem that difficult. I think now it's just like rather than stacking at like let's say 52, you need to stack at like 53, and that's it. You can still pull the pull camp to like normally at 46 or 16. You can still pull the other camp, the medium camp, to the lane, really normal, no problem there whatsoever. And you can pull it to the other side if you're playing suicide. It's still the same, nothing changed really. I don't know what this applies. I think it's trying to make the pool camp, not the pool camp, sorry, but the other like medium camp harder to pull to the suicide laner or to the short farm laners. I honestly don't know why. Like, just stop this whole movement. I honestly really hate the fact that you can even pull that camp to like as a suicide laner or to your farm, because you have the pool camp and that is placed there for the lane control of the short farmer. But as a suicider, to just have the lane control like this out of nowhere, it's just, by my opinion, it's too much power for the suicide laner. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. It should just be disabled at all rather than this nonsense, because trust me, this changes nothing. I tested it, it changes nothing. You can still stack. It needs just maybe 4 to 3 stacks to really get used to it, and then you will never miss again. So, I don't know. You can still triple stack with Chipper and like 5 creep stack. Sorry, like, it's nothing special, really. Either ways, moving on to heroes right now, some heroes changes. Now when it comes to heroes, most of the heroes changes are just bunch of number changes, nothing really crazy. It's like, oh, this hero has been nerfed, this hero has been buffed. But there are some few things that are pretty neat in these heroes changes, so once we like come upon them, I will give my opinion on them and, you know, just talk about them in general, and we'll move on to the rest just normally. So we'll just show each and every single one of these for like 10 seconds normally, and then once we step on something that is very interesting, we'll stop there and talk about it for a little bit. So yeah, let's just get into it. Moving on to Andromeda, now her attack range has been increased from 450 to 475, and her W no longer disables PK. I like that, but to be honest, I feel like it's unnecessary. I feel like it should really remain, because her W is quite slow, and you could react pretty quickly to it. You could PK without it hitting you in time. And there's Arcane Bomb right now, so I don't know. It's kind of 50-50. Now moving on to Moira, Shards of HoN cast action time reduced from 300 millisecond to 200 millisecond. This is really good, and cast time reduced from 600 millisecond to 200 millisecond. This is really good, because Moira's Q is a pain in the fucking ass to pull off sometimes. You would like use your illusion literally underneath someone, and you would use your Q and it still won't hit him, because it just takes way too long for Moira to put her Q on her. It's just too painful to watch. So this is a really good change. I really like it. And another thing, her E, or her illusion cooldown, increased from 60 to 95 and from 45 to 80. I really like this. Right now, you can't really use your E all the time. You can only use it after 80, which is actually a really long time. A minute and a half is really, really long. So her ulti will be, sorry, her E or her illusion will be barely used now, or you'll barely see it. And if she uses it, she gotta really use it well. And if she doesn't, it's a long waiting time. So I really, really like this. Max duration increase from 22 seconds to 30 seconds. It makes sense. You know, now that it has a really, really long cooldown, it lasts way longer. 30 seconds is actually quite a lot of time. But you gotta remember though, it is an illusion and it dies very quickly. So we'll see what happens with that. And another thing, by the way, Vindicator counters Moira's E entirely. As soon as Moira E or uses her illusion, if Vindicator ulties, her illusion is gone. She loses complete control out of her illusion. So I'm not sure. This is good, but at the same time, it is a little bit forgetting Vindicator. Because if Vindicator is picked against Moira now, Moira will be kind of useless, not gonna lie. You're not really gonna see Moira running in the fight much, unless she has a PK. Which I'm not sure if she's gonna buy it as a support. But yeah, I'm not sure about this. I like it and don't like it. I really like the Q change, but the E is a 50-50 one. It depends on the heroes that you're playing against, that's for sure. But yeah, we'll see about that one in future games. Now moving on to Marmot. When it comes to Marmot, attack range increased from 450 to 500, and his stun duration on Weed Field, which is his Q, is increased at the last level to 2.2, and between the middle levels to 1.4 and 1.8, but remains 1 second at the first. So just it's a buff on his Q for the stun duration. Now going on to Magikarp, mana cost reduced, so it's in the early, which is from 95 to 80, but it remains the same at the level 4, which is 110, 110. But now it applies a 30, 40, 50, 60% movement slow for 0.6 seconds if the target is not moving at the time of impact. So basically right now, rather than stunning the target, if he's not moving, it will slow him. Before it never stunned him, just so you know, but now it slows him rather than the stun. So it either slows you or stuns you pretty much either ways. I do like it. You know, it's if the target stayed still, it's kind of there's nothing really to get from it, but now it's like it's a little bit of a slow. 0.6 seconds is not really that much, so I like it. It's a really good change. It's a really, really nice change. And right now you can use your W and then Q and pretty much almost always land your Q if you're really good at timing it. But yeah, that depends on the player. But yeah, it's all in all good buff on Myrmidon. So moving on to Parasite, infested creeps bonus damage received from player controlled enemy units reduced from 50% to 25%, and killing the creep while you're silenced or stunned is no longer an option. Pretty much when you're in a creep, you can kill him and get out of him. That's no longer an option when you're silenced or stunned. That means the creeps. If the creep is silent or stunned, you can no longer get out of him, and he deals way less damage now. I really like this buff. Parasite is a really fucking annoying hero to play against, and now that you nerfed his creep damage, it like him staying in a creep for a really long time is no longer really an option, depending on the game of course, but yeah, it's no longer really a big option for you. And if somebody stuns your creep, you're pretty much screwed. So I really like this. It's a really good change, to be honest. Now moving on to Predator. Predator's Q now also applies a restrain effect for the first 2 seconds of the debuff. So pretty much right now, if Predator Qs someone, this unit can no longer jump anywhere. So pretty much if you queued a Gemini, Gemini cannot use his W. If you queued a Bubbles and that Bubbles uses his Q, he will no longer be able to teleport to his Q. So it's a really cool change. I really do like it. Predator is a bit of a hero that can be kited really hard. Like, Predator is a hero that can be kited really, really fucking hard. And now with this Q, he's a little bit harder to kite, especially if he Qs you. So it's a really cool change. I really like it. And I think a lot of people are going to be playing Predator a little bit more now, simply because of this change. It's actually a really, really good change. And going on to Terror, aka his ulti movement speed bonus granted to attackers increased from 15% to 20%. Buff duration granted to attackers increased from 3.5% to 4.25% a second, sorry, not percent. Pretty much just a bit of a buff for his ulti, which is really, really nice. So moving on to Tarot. Now when it comes to Tarot W's, which is the thing that she puts on your head and she can see you and like that goes to you. Yeah, pretty much that one. So now it changed to a debuff, which means it's purgeable now, which means that if she puts her W on you and you use Nullifier on yourself, you will remove it. Which is really fucking nice, actually. It's quite stupid, to be honest. Tarot would literally W a target that is like, I don't know, 1000 HP, and she would be hitting a target, and that target would just die in no time. And you cannot do anything about it. Just you only need to stay away from the the fight, or just buy a void. Maybe a void will do you just fine, but as soon as that void is gone, you will die in like 3 hits, or God knows how much, depending on how lucky she is with her ulti. So this is a really good change. And Bound by Fate, Tether state type on both affected targets changed to debuff, making it purgeable just like her W now. So if she puts 2 targets together, if one of them or either of them uses Nullifier on themselves or the other one that is linked to them, it will be removed, which is really, really nice as well. Because before, if she bound you together, there's literally not a single thing you can do about it, and you will both probably die because you will W and then Q, and you're both probably dead. So this is a really good change, making both spells purgeable. And going on to Luck of the Draw, which is her ulti, critical strike chance increased from 20% to 25%. I understand why after making both of her spells purgeable, but this is stupid. Her ulti is way too powerful, and it's just luck. Honestly, even if you make it 10%, some players are gonna play and they're gonna get like 10 crits per attack. And then you will have players that would attack like 100 attack and will get only 2 crits. So I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like it should remain at 20%. But yeah, all in all, good changes on Tarot. Now moving on to Exemplar Fractal Field, aka his Q. So each explosion affected a target past the 3rd explosion within the last 2 seconds now deals 0.7 damage of the previous explosion. I love this. I simply love this, because it was an absolute joke when Exemplar bought a Resto and a Staff and a Geomancers, and he jumped on you with like 12 illusions or God knows how many illusions with his Q. Now they will deal way less damage, but to be completely honest, I don't even think that this change will change much. I think Exemplar would still absolutely like annihilate you. He would literally melt you down from the map. Like, I don't think it's gonna do much. I think what this should be is that all of his illusion deal 50% of his Q, or maybe 40%, something like that. Something reasonable. Something that you can actually deal with rather than this. Because it's just a joke right now, to be honest with you. And this is not mentioning spell charts, by the way. You're saying 0.75. Well, yeah, spell charts remove 60% of the enemy's magic damage. So right now you're just telling exemplar players to, okay, now you gotta buy spell charts, and it's just the old good old exemplar, boys. Don't worry about it. I don't know. It is a nerf, but it's not gonna change much in my eyes, God knows. And I hope this will not become a meta of exemplar buying resto geometers. If it does, then they will probably do it to a 50% or 40% or whatever, or even remove the whole thing that his Q runs into the other illusions or whatever. But yeah, all in all, good. Keep nerfing his Q on his illusions, but other than that, keep the hero the same. And that would be all for this video and for this update as well. I hope you guys did learn something today, and I hope that I did inform you about this update. Please tell me any suggestion you have in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.